All right, let's move on now to the muscular system. So, some terminology just very quickly for the muscular system, for our muscles. Again, if you did, I don't know why that's covering that, but if you did health or PE or PDHB or one of those subjects, this should kind of be familiar. If not, that's fine. We're going to go over them. So, there are different categories of muscles, okay? An agonist, antagonist, synergist, and a fixator. An agonist is considered a prime mover. Why? Because it's the principal muscle or muscles generating the movement. Okay, it's the principal muscle generating the movement. An antagonist is the opposing muscles which slow or control the prime movement. So to give the muscle you're trying to use control, other muscles will slow down. Other muscles are slowed down so that you can have specific movement in only some portions of your body. Synergist is a muscle or muscles that assist the agonist in generating its movement. A fixator is one that stabilizes or prevents unwanted movement at a joint. Okay, so you also then have isotonic and isometric. Isotonic is where the muscle doesn't change during the movement, as in the muscle length changes in the movement. Muscle tone doesn't change, but muscle length changes. So for example, bicep, if you're doing bicep curls, the muscle tone doesn't change, but the muscle length becomes longer, okay? Concentric is when it shortens during the movement. Eccentric is when it lengthens. So think of bicep curls. Isometric is where the muscle tone doesn't change during the movement and muscle length doesn't change during the movement. That would be if I was just holding a weight, okay? Not doing this or anything, I'm just holding a weight. It's isometric. I'm not doing anything. It's static, okay? Whereas isotonic, we have muscle tone not changing, but we have muscle length changing. Concentric, becoming shorter. Eccentric, becoming longer. Okay, so these are the muscles of the head and neck. We're not going to cover all of these, just again, because I don't want to bombard you guys, but we're going to go over kind of a general idea of what the muscles are. So we have the occipitofrontalis, which is this, occipitofrontalis. Think frontal bone, right, was here. So occipitofrontalis is here as well. Okay. And it's here as well, but this is kind of like a covering over it that protects it. Then we have the orbicularis oculi. Okay, they have real funny names, as you can imagine. Orbicularis oculi is covering the eyes. Okay, it's literally circular over the eyes. Then we have the orbicularis oris, which is circular but covering the mouth. And we have the buccinator. I always struggle with that one. Buccinator, because I know it's not buccinator, it's pronounced with an S, so buccinator, which is kind of it helps with jaw movement, okay? So orbicularis frontalis, orbicularis oculi, orbicularis oris, and buccinator, okay? Those are the muscles, general muscles of the face, or the head and neck. And then as well as that, deeper, okay, remember superficial versus deep. Deeper, we have the masseter, which is the primary muscle involved in jaw movement. So masseter is this one. And then temporalis is this one here. Okay, temporalis is here. Remember, temporal bone, temporalis is on top of it, as you can imagine. Okay, or superficial to the temporal bone, whereas the temporal bone is deep to the temporalis. Masseter is the main one involved in jaw movement when you speak and when you eat primarily. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know with the Q&A. All right, this one here is the sternocleidomastoid. Okay, sternocleidomastoid. This big, long muscle here. Okay, so when you turn, you can feel it here. That's not a bone, obviously, because it's a bit fleshy. It's a muscle. Okay, sternocleidomastoid there. Okay, so I'm not going to take you through, I'll take you through some of this. I, again, don't want to overwhelm you guys. So, subclavius is underneath the clavicle. Okay, sub meaning underneath, clavicle, you can see where that comes from. So subclavius, over the clavicle. Sub-over. So here's the clavicle. You imagine it kept going and you can see it underneath. Subclavius over it. The deltoid is immediately over this kind of shoulder girdle where your scapula goes down. That's your deltoid, okay? And then you have your pectoralis major and minor, which have been cut here, but imagine your pectoralis is kind of like a triangle here. You have your major, which is the top one, and then your minor one that you can't see if the major is still on, under it. Okay, so if you're looking at it from the side view, the major and minor. In some of your labs, if you do get the chance to look at cadavers or human specimens, they will cut it open or cut some parts of it so you can see both the major and minor. Biceps brachii is the one that's most medial, this muscle here that's most medial, okay, most towards the midline, and then you have the brachialis under that, okay? So you have the short, no, not Siri again. You have the short head and the long head, which basically just defines like the different portions of it. But just know the biceps brachii, and then you have brachialis under it. Those are kind of the main ones that I want you to know right now. Also, the sternum is a bone, not a muscle, but you can see it here, so I'll just go over it. It's the bone that kind of your ribs come out from. They connect to your ribs. So just know your biceps brachii and then your brachialis beneath your biceps brachii. Okay. All right, so for the leg, we have the vastus medialis, intermedius, and lateralis. This is where I really like science and I really like anatomy and stuff, because unlike English or those kinds of subjects, like it actually makes sense. We know that medial means towards the midline, intermediate or intermedius means intermediate, and then lateral means away from the midline. So vastus medialis, vastus intermedius, vastus lateralis, okay? It makes sense. All you really need to know is vastus for these three sets of muscles of covering the femur, which is this bone. Because if you're asked in an exam, it has an arrow going to this one, for example, and you just remember vastus, of course, on the spot, you're going to think, okay, medial towards the midline, medialis, yeah, it has to be that one. Okay, so yeah, as I said, this is what, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know why Siri keeps coming up. Gosh, but that's what it makes it really nice and easy. Okay, we have the gastrocnemius, which has been cut here, and this is the most external or the most posterior portion of the back of your leg. Okay, so you can see it here, gastrocnemius. Okay, it's the most posterior muscle of the back of your lower leg. Here they've been cut though, so we can see the soleus muscle and the Achilles tendon. Okay, and the calcaneus, which is your heel. But really, you just need to know Achilles, soleus, and gastrocnemius. Gastrocnemius is really two halves of a muscle that have fused together. So of course we have a medial leg more towards the midline, lateral leg away from the midline. Okay, as I said, it's very nice and easy, as in like how they've named it. We know what medial is, it makes sense that it's medial. There are other tendons that we need to know, like the plantaris, but again, as I keep saying, I'm not going to take you through everything. All right, please guys, if anything I've just said doesn't make sense, because I know that might be a bit tricky, please let me know in the Q&A. All right, but hopefully it's kind of self-explanatory. Let's keep pushing through with our questions. I hope you guys are enjoying it. The first question is, what is the name of the muscle immediately surrounding your eye? Occipitofrontalis, orbicularis oculi, orbicularis oris, or buccinata? Buccinata. There we go. Yeah, I've struggled with that word since I first studied it, because you would think it's ch, but it's s with the buccinata. And there are going to be some like names of specific body parts that are just so tricky to say. Luckily, we're not going over too many of them, but yeah, there are some that are like, what? How do you even say this Latin word? just while you're doing that, yeah, a big tip, as I was saying, always think of, like, use your knowledge of your terminology to help you try and find the body part in an exam if you don't remember what it is. For example, as I said, you'll have multiple choice and there'll be like 30 drop down options for the multiple choice. If you know that it's a medial bone or a medial tendon or a medial muscle, for example, you can eliminate all the laterals. You can eliminate anything that's intermediate. You can eliminate anything that doesn't have medial in front of it. And then from there, you can kind of say, all right, well, this is this part. I know this is this part. This is this part. Oh, it must be this. So yeah, that would be my best advice for multiple choice, or one of a solid piece of advice I can give you. I'll say it like that. All right, so we think it's B. You are correct. Orbicularis oculi is immediately surrounding your eye. Okay, what is the longest muscle in your body? This one, I don't actually, I'll give you guys the opportunity to answer this, but I kind of have not told you this yet. So I just want to see if anyone knows this. Just quickly, actually, I'll tell you where these muscles are after. But I haven't told you guys this, so I'll tell you guys in a second. Just see if we can give it a go without Googling, because I have a feeling we might be, some of us maybe have used Google. So try and just see if you guys know. After all, it's anonymous, so. Okay. All right, bit of a split. Okay, some of us have changed our answer. I'm worried that, as I said, don't Google it. People are like, oh, Google, that's a good idea. All right, sartorius, yes. Sartorius is, and I don't know if I have it here, sartorius is this muscle. It's the longest muscle in your body, okay? You can see it's really long. Not to be assumed is the gluteus maximus. A lot of people think that's the longest muscle in your body. That is incorrect. The sartorius is. The gluteus maximus is your buttocks or your posterior. And then below that you have the gluteus minimus. Okay, and then triceps brachii is behind where we know we had the biceps brachii. Imagine anatomical position, biceps brachii, triceps brachii. Okay, next question. Let me just do the poll. Yep. Okay. Which type of muscle stabilizes or prevents unwanted movement at a joint? Fixator, synergist, agonist, antagonist. What do we think? Give you guys a second. All right. Cool. Fixator, yeah. This is just kind of memorization, but yeah, A. So well done to everyone that did A. All right, now we're